It's over. Okay, hey everybody. Thanks for coming out to Strong Beer Fest yesterday. And we are now at the Super VIP Brunch and Beer Education Fun Times. Hi, thanks for being here. Don't forget to pick up your glassware at the end, okay?
We just wanted to say thank you. We've got a special treat. We're not going to talk so much, and we're going to have Johann from the Phoenix Beer, magazine, their beer show. We don't have a tagline for our show, and they don't have a name that says beer in it. I don't know what to make of that. But we wanted to say thank you for coming out. We really appreciate it. It's good to be back. I think, we ordered the right weather. I have to tell you something, Andrew. If you guys saw me walking around with a camera, this camera right here, I was taking photos, and I took like 100 photos. I'm like, yeah, like, sell it, work it. And like, the camera card wasn't seated very well, so it's a great scam, though. I've come to terms with it because for that moment, I caught someone's attention, and they, they kind of looked me back in the eye, or I was like, that looks really good. So for some reason, that quarter second of time in the flash and seeing it in the screen, it like I actually went through after I was so disappointed that I didn't have any photos in my memory. I went through and saw the photos in my head because I had seen them.
His amazing roll of
yeah. So
brain.
On that level, I felt like I accomplished something, and I instead of just kind of drinking beer and saying performative hellos and high fives, I actually like concentrated on the person, and it's a kind of a cool thing after COVID. We are in the people business, and when we didn't get to see people, it was kind of terrible. So we're gonna have Johann here.
Hello. I wanted to first, before we have Johann here, say thank you to Phoenix Beer Co. for hosting this event, for having delicious Bloody Marys and mimosas and beers, and also thank you to Old Ellsworth Brewing, Uncle Bear's Brewing, and to Huss for sharing their delicious beer with everyone. We've also got Popeye, the head brewer for Phoenix Beer Co., is also going to be on the talking part of this. And thanks to all of y'all for being here. So I'm now going back to work at the front desk. And there it is.
So cheers. Stand by for whenever these guys want to start and enjoy breakfast, and we'll come around and chat. And I'm going to try to take some more pictures. I'm not going to fail this time.
Well, everybody, my name is Johann Warnholtz. I'm with Phoenix Magazine. We were lucky enough to work very closely with the Guild on the Arizona Craft Beer Awards last year, and we're very excited to be here to kind of chat with some of our amazing breweries. I'm here with Brian from Old Ellsworth.
That's me.
That's you. And so we're just going to chat a little bit about, I want to know a little bit more about Old Ellsworth and what Queen Creek is up to these days and what you guys are up to. So why don't you start off, just introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you do. And
my name is Brian, obviously one of the owners at Old Ellsworth Brewing Company. We are owned and operated by family. So we have Ryan, who's our head brewer, and Christine, who does most of our paperwork. All I do right now is sign checks and run the staff pretty much. I used to brew beer. I used to brew beer.
But you drink it.
I drink a lot of beer, yeah. Ryan does most of all of our brewing now. He's 100% brewing. But yeah, we have a full restaurant. We have a full bar. We brew our own beer on site. But we're what we call Arizona proud. So all of our alcohol and all of our wine comes from Arizona. So we also have a scratch kitchen, so we make some pretty awesome food. So if you guys are ever down in the area and want to hang out for lunch, come down and see us, for sure.
Queen Creek is growing like a weed. It's so many people moving out. My in-laws just bought a house down there, so we'll be spending more time down there for sure.
It's the new Scottsdale.
Yeah, it's cool. It's super cool. Tell us a little bit about your beers. What are your sort of mainstays? Do you have a favorite? Tell us a little about maybe something you got coming up soon.
So Ryan and I homebrewed for about probably 10 years before we opened the brewery. So we pretty much brewed any style of beer that we like to drink. So we have a tagline: we make beer, people drink it. So if you like beer, come down. We'll have a very broad spectrum from like a super light lager. We have a Bing Bong, which is super easy drinking. We have Legends Never Die, which is a hazy IPA. But then we'll also have like a double Imperial Stout, like Boom Chocolat. So we have all kinds of stuff. Right now, we just have a double West Coast here. That's about 8%. It's called Spody Odie Hopalicious, which is brand new.
It sounds like you have some interesting beer names. What's the story behind that?
Well, we drink a lot of beer, and then we name beers. So most of the names are like pop culture. Like Legends Never Die is from Sandlot, obviously. And we have a beer called Winnie's Revenge, which is kind of a play on Winnie the Pooh, getting back at everybody.
I like that.
It's kind of fun. Yeah.
Very cool. So you guys are just in the restaurant. You don't distribute or anything, or are you distributing? You have plans to distribute? Where can people find you outside of the...
We always have plans to distribute, but we have a very loyal following in Queen Creek. So... they drink a lot of our beer. Yeah. So as long as we can sell it over the counter, we're going to keep doing that. But we always have plans to distribute, like plans to expand, plans to do stuff. We're actually finishing a tap truck right now, so we will see that at festivals. It's like a 1954 step side delivery truck. It's pretty
cool.
That.
I love that. Well, very cool. Does anybody have a question? We might open it up just to one or two questions here if anybody wants to ask something. But
I have all the answers.
If you haven't been over to their table, they're right by the door over on the end, and that double IPA is very tasty.
Yeah,
it goes down nice and smooth for being 8%. Can you tell us anything more about it? What'd you guys put in it?
Oh, that's a Ryan question. There's some hops in there.
Yeah. Maybe.
Lots of love. It's actually a beer that's brewed with Arizona grain, right? Arizona base grain, so it's two-row, right? Yeah, so we get a lot of our grain from a place called Grain R&D, but it's Sossaman Farms. So they do a lot of awesome, like ancient grains and stuff that breweries are adding into their beers. So they're actually opening a malt house here in a couple years.
Oh,
so
cool.
it'll be, you'll see that a lot more. But we use grain R&D probably in almost all of our beers. So we're what we call hyper local.
I love that. I mean, that's what we're all about here for sure. And then just to top us off here, what's your favorite beer that you've ever made yourself?
Favorite beer I've ever made myself. Yeah. Ooh, that's a tough one. We have it started as a barley wine, and then it kind of turned into a triple IPA, but it's called Jockey Shift. So if you ever see it on tap, it's a really good beer. And actually, one of my favorite beers we have on tap at the brewery right now. It's Ryan's recipe. It's called Fermi's Paradox. It's a Belgian quad. It's amazing.
That sounds fantastic. That Fermi's Paradox is the whole alien thing, right?
Yeah.
I love
it's
that.
It's out there somewhere.
Very cool. So a Belgian quad, can't go wrong with one of those.
Nothing wrong with that. Quick plug for Rob's OnlyFans. If you guys want to see beard stroking or hat tipping, subscribe to Rob's OnlyFans.
Well, thank you, Brian. Let's give him a round of applause. If you guys haven't been over to Old Ellsworth table and tried their beer,
thank you. Thank you very much.
Highly recommended. So now with me here, I have Drew, the head brewer over at Uncle Bear's. How you doing, man?
Good.
Thanks
Glad
for
to be
joining
here.
us.
Yeah, anytime.
So, Drew was on our Phoenix Magazine podcast just a couple episodes ago. If you guys haven't listened to it, Matt and I over here interview brewers and owners of breweries all over the valley, and we got the pleasure of talking to Drew the other day about Uncle Bear's and everything they have going on, and kind of their background. So, Drew, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your, how you got to be where you're at now, and yeah.
Yeah. I'm Drew Ortega. I've been in the beer industry for about 8 years now. Started off with Mr. Andrew Bauman over there at the Perch Pub and Brewery. We started that little nano brewery out, and got my feet wet in there, and just got my creative juices out when we were there, and then kind of moved on to Uncle Bear's, more of a production style brewery, but really trying to hone in on, the craft and just making exceptional beers for everybody. It's been fun. Really enjoyed the canning aspect of it. So really kind of hone that in, and you'll kind of see a lot of our one-off stuff is really kind of artsy as far as the cans go. My wife does all the can designs, so I'm really proud of her helping me out on that. So, but if you tried the black IPA, you'll see it has my packaging tech's dog Chloe on the can. So all of the stars of the cans are Brewers dogs and employees' dogs and friends' dogs. So it's a little bit inspiration.
I love that. I love that. You guys, I mean, the whole Uncle Bear's, Bear was the owner's dog, right? And then a lot of your beers like Ocean Beach and Beach Bum, those are all based on his time in California.
Yeah.
So you guys have a pretty cool story, and you work very closely with the Humane Society.
Yes.
Right? Every year you guys raise a bunch of money with their Pints for Paws.
Yeah,
tell us a little bit about that.
It's definitely a big deal for us when Beer Week kind of kicks off. Right now we got our Pints for Paws going on, so you can buy these little cards, $2, $5, $10, $20, and all the proceeds go to the Humane Society to help out our furry friends. Last year we raised over $15,000 for them just for this campaign. So it's a big campaign for us, and all the beer sales on next Saturday from all of our retail locations will go out to Pints for Paws. So I'm really excited about that. And then all the locations will actually have you can adopt on next Saturday. So really fun events. Great for our four-legged friends. So
Yeah.
looking
How many
forward
of
to
you
that.
out there have a dog? Handful of you, yeah. Anybody get them from the Humane Society? All right. I love that. I love that. Who's that yelling in the back? No, that's awesome. So if you guys are around next Saturday, head over to one of the Uncle Bears, and anything you buy will go towards the Humane Society and help some more furry friends find some homes. So that's really, really cool. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, you told us a little bit about the black IPA, but maybe go into it a little bit more in terms of what you put into it, how a black IPA is made, why it's different from a regular IPA, and then maybe you can talk about that Beach Bum too.
Yeah, so the black IPA, it's my favorite style. You get the roastiness a little bit, and then fully hopped with Chinook, Simcoe, and Amarillo, double dry hopped. We treat it like your West Coast IPA. It's hopped vigorously. You're just going to get that black, dark kind of stout look because of the midnight wheat that we use in it. So you don't get too much flavor from it. It's really supposed to kind of, if you shut your eyes and you take a sip, you're drinking an IPA. But that really feel like that wheat kind of mellows it out as far as mouthfeel and complements the hops. It's a brewer style. I mean, it's a nerd style beer. I love it. Lost Highway is one of my favorites. It's a black IPA. And then our Beach Bum. This is probably my favorite beer that I drink religiously. But it's a great beer. Mosaic and Citra hops. I feel like you're cheating when you use Mosaic, but it's a fantastic hop. And then we use an English floor malt, so it gives it a lot of body. It just a fantastic flavor profile to add hops to. It's a great beer. I think we're going to actually, it sounds like we're going to 12-ounce form on this beer, so hopefully it'll be available in Fry's and Safeways here soon.
That's awesome. Going back to the black IPA, because I think it's sort of a underappreciated style. There's not, I mean, obviously there's the Mother Road one, and then you guys have one, and there's a handful of others. But tell us a little bit more about, you said that the color comes from the midnight wheat, but you get that roasted flavor. Is that coming from the same malt?
Yeah, same. Traditionally, you're supposed to not really get that chocolate. You'll get on a robust porter or a stout. That's why I use the wheat, because it's all about the color really and body. Because because whenever we're adding oats or wheats or rice, we're just trying to build that body up of that beer. So, I mean, it's really to showcase the hops.
Yeah. And then when you brew something that's, darker and kind of roasty like this, is there a reason you go with a certain hop versus another? Are there like tropical versus kind of piney flavors that go better with that sort of roasted flavor?
So to me, I always like to throw one fruity kind of varietal of hop, which is Amarillo for me. I'm a big Amarillo fan. And then you get the dank, just kind of West Coast stuff with the Chinook and Simcoe. Simcoe does have some fruitiness to it too, but I get more of the dankness off of it, a little bit of floral. So it kind of balances. You're balancing that Amarillo with the other two hops. I'm all about balance. I want to drink everything balanced, even though, you say it's an IPA, 70 IBUs, but let's kind of mask that to where it's drinkable and it's approachable for everybody.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. It's very tasty. Do you happen to know, when you're drinking a beer like this, it's got that roasted flavor, that hoppy flavor. What sort of pairs well with this, like food wise? Like, what would you eat with this?
Spicy things for sure. Barbecue, but I love barbecue, so
that goes well with everything.
And sushi. I mean, you got the sriracha and the jalapeno and all those other kind of flavor bursts. Definitely, IPAs will clean your palate and introduce you to some new things when you're eating some nice food.
Right on. And so, for you as a beer drinker, I know you started out homebrewing a while back, right?
Yeah. 2000.
In terms of I feel like everybody has their palate kind of progression. Some people start right out the gate with the IPA. Some people kind of start with their wheat beers and things like that. Tell us a little bit about what you were first into. What's the first sort of craft beer that you got into, and how you sort of moved along on that.
So that started in San Diego. It was actually a red nectar ale. More fruit forward with the hops and malty. I feel like when you start drinking beers, especially, you kind of lean towards the malty beers. They're a little bit more approachable than, say, just the hops in your face. And then you kind of, just like with anything, your palate progresses, and then you kind of move towards, all of a sudden you're drinking those hoppier beers that you used to hate, or those sours. It's a natural progression in my mind. You're expanding your palate, you're expanding what you're going to taste, and you're kind of understanding beers a little bit better, I think. Hops and just the varietals and the things that you get out, different characteristics you get out of it, it's another world to me. That's why I like to play with hops so much. But yeah, so it was the Red Nectar Ale. It was actually a Firestone Walker shoot-off brand. So it wasn't from Firestone Walker, but it was a fantastic beer. It had this beautiful red hue to it, and it was hop forward, but it was more on the fruitier side of hops. So that really intrigued me, and I love to cook. I love to just kind of create. So it was right in my wheelhouse.
That's awesome. So Uncle Bear's won a couple of awards at the Arizona Craft Beer Awards, if I remember correctly. You want to tell us about the beers that won and kind of what that meant to you?
So we won bronze for our Ocean Beach West Coast IPA, which it's a pretty big feat to me. I mean, West Coast, everybody does the West Coast, so you can get pretty much a Westie from any brand out there. But to be recognized on that level, especially in this state, like, we're all competing friendly, but at the end of the day, you want to make a better product than everybody else. So a little bit of ego in there, but yeah, no, super proud of that beer. Changed it when I started with Uncle Bear's, because I'm from San Diego, and quintessential West Coast is hopped in your face and get after it. And so we did a little tweaking of that beer. and it won bronze, so I'm super stoked on that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, give us a little bit of a preview of what you guys, what Uncle Bears has coming up soon. Maybe some releases you're doing here soon, and
All right.
yeah, let us know.
Well, if you got a chance to visit us yesterday, you saw Debo's Kettle Sour Double IPA. That's my baby. That's my wife and I's dog, RIP. But Kettle Sour Double IPA. It's double dry hopped. It goes against all the rules, but it works so well. It's just a tropical bomb. That'll be available at all our restaurants. And then we did a beer that we're gonna can next week, Rye in the Hood. It's a red rye IPA. We did Mosaic and Amarillo on that one, double dry hopped. Like I said, it's gonna can. It came out phenomenal this year, so I'm super amped on that one. And then we also still waiting to see it and taste it, but we went down to 1912 and also brewed another sour with them. Did some blending on that. He's gonna enhance, or Alan over at 1912 is gonna throw some pear and apricot on that bad boy to age on it. So we'll see it when we get it. I'm looking forward to that one. But Debo's is also another 1912 collab we do every year. So definitely get it while you can. We only did 30 barrels this time around. We did 60 last year, and it's going quick. So.
Yeah, I tried that Debo's when we did our podcast with you a few weeks ago, and it is delightful. I remember telling you hoppy sours, or sour IPAs were kind of my gateway into the hoppy flavor profile. Before that, I really wasn't into it. More of like a wheat beer, Hefeweizens, Belgians, like maltier beers. And then I started drinking some of those sour IPAs, and that sort of opened me up to that. So that Debo is very, very good. So if you haven't had a chance to try it, make sure you go check that out for sure. Awesome. Well, thanks, Drew. Do you have anything else you want to plug while you're here? I know. Brian was he plugged something there at the end. So
yeah, I guess I should plug. So the brewery tap room. Where I work, Jermaine and Lindsay, our full kitchen's opening up starting next Saturday. So not only will we be doing the Pints for Paws, but we'll have a full kitchen, pizzas, wings, the whole gamut. So we're looking forward to that. Maybe a little bit more traffic. We're in a little kind of weird area that's it's a business park, so it's kind of off the beaten path. But come down and check out the arcade, and you won't be sad about it.
Yeah, no, that arcade is really awesome. Well, thanks, Drew. Thanks so much. If you guys
Cheers.
haven't had a chance to go over to their table and try their black IPA or their Beach Bum tropical IPA, make sure you do that. Thank you so much. Rob Fulmer, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause to Rob.
Hey, again, thanks to everyone who's here today. We have some people showing up as we speak, and so I guess the food's still going, and everyone's got a drink. Is anyone a Bloody Mary fan at all? Yeah, me too. I grew up in Wisconsin, and it was a thing. And let me tell you, have you ever had like more than 2 Bloody Marys?
I've never had one Bloody Mary. I'm not a fan.
I went on a Bloody Mary crawl.
Oh boy.
I invented that. Let me tell you why that's a bad idea. It's not the alcohol, which is there obviously, but it's the salt.
Oh.
The next day, I felt like I was lost at sea. My lips were all puffy. My face was swollen. I went with a couple beer reps, and I texted. I'm like, I feel so bloated and salty. And she texted back, my cat can't stop licking me.
There's some blood pressure issues with that much salt, probably.
Probably,
too.
yeah. So I just wanted to, let everyone know why this festival is important for the Guild and what the Guild does. The Brewers Guild represents the breweries, and we promote and we protect them. And mostly because every state has its own laws. I just broke a liquor law just about, 5 minutes ago. I was casually talking to Andrew, my deputy director out there doing the check-in. Let's hear for Andrew, yeah. I was walking out there talking to him. I'm like, oh, I have a drink, and I'm not inside the licensed premise. So all those things are run by a liquor department, and like they enforce those laws. But like we have some of the best brewing laws in the country, and it's because you guys show up to our festival and attend, and that pays a lot of my salary, Andrew's salary. We have a legislative council, and we have an office, and so we really appreciate that. And thanks for doing your part. We got something coming up. Have you ever been to Baja Beer Festival in Tucson?
I have not. No.
And you're not going this year either, are you?
I could try.
I think it's your birthday or something.
It is
like
my
that.
birthday. It's literally the day after my birthday. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it's Saturday, April 1st.
Yeah.
Tucson. It's in Armory Park. It's back on. I don't know. You haven't been?
Tucson. I've heard of Tucson. Is that? That's somewhere nearby, right?
It's the old Pueblo. So it's yeah, I mean, they have their own vibe for sure. 21 breweries. I know you've had people on your podcast from Tucson.
Yes, we've had a handful of breweries from Tucson on our podcast, but some of the best beer for sure is coming out of Tucson. I mean, you got Barrio, and you got Crooked Tooth is down there. Ranch Hand is kind of almost in Tucson.
Button, Catalina.
Button, one of the best Schwartz
Fire
beers
Truck,
I've ever had.
Borderlands.
What is it? Noche
Dolce.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. So we're not going to name all 21.
Yeah. No.
Today.
I'm done. I'm tapped out.
But if you are interested, if you're Tucson curious, we have that festival down there. It's in Armory Park. It's kind of in a shady area. There are monuments that honor veterans there. So, but it's just south, like a block from Pueblo Vida, which we didn't talk about.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's a great way to help support and, sort of convince the people from Tucson that we do love them. We just don't think about them every day. That's what they want.
Yeah.
So we have that April 1st. And did anyone look at the ticket, like the other announcement we had in there? On the back of the drink ticket yesterday, they didn't have numbers on it, the top part. Anyway, we're going to move Real Wild and Woody to Flagstaff. We're calling it Real Wild and Woodsy.
Ooh, okay.
So that's going to be the first Saturday of June. And
outdoors?
Outdoors.
Oh my gosh, a beer festival outdoors in June in Arizona?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
It's in Flagstaff. It'll be what I've learned about Flagstaff from living up there part-time now is if you don't have a beer festival in June, you get rain. So we're going to do it in June, and I know there's a lot of other things going on up there. It's going to be limited tickets because we're going to start small because I don't want to upset everybody up there in Flagstaff that a bunch of breweries are going to be again invading their town, but that's our plan, and those things help propel us to do laws and stuff. Like
I love that.
We have some of the best brewery laws in the country, and I like to keep it that way. We've been the first bill that I ran over 9 years ago. We lost, but we ended up winning because we got more the second time around. And the second time around, we got the ability for small breweries to sell each other's beer up to 20%. So, I can't tell you how many breweries say, oh, we'll be fine and we don't need to do that. And then when they start up or they open a new location, then they're short of beer. They're like, this is so cool. And then, the collaboration stuff. It used to be when you collaborated with somebody, you could only serve at the brewery that it was made at.
Wow.
All those collaborations couldn't be poured at other places. So those are the small things that we chip away at. And so again, thank you. Your ticket pays for all that. You're doing good work by having a good time yesterday. So that's all I wanted to say about that. But thanks for doing this, Johann.
Yeah, man, of course. You asked me to come somewhere in the morning to talk about beer and drink beer. I'm gonna be there. So
Right on. Who's next? We'll take a break, but who's next?
I think next up is Popeye from Phoenix Beer Co. Another big round of applause for Phoenix Beer Co. for hosting us here today.
Right on.
So if you guys don't know Popeye, that is not his real name, but there are 1,000 of his real name, and so we're just gonna know him by Popeye. That's just what he is. It's Popeye. He's a wonderful human being. He's a great brewer, and he's one of the major driving forces behind Phoenix Beer Co., which used to be way back in the day called Phoenix Ale Company, I believe.
It
was a long time ago.
Let's let him tell a story.
Yeah, we'll let him tell a story.
All right.
I'm going to take a quick break because, you drink too many beers, you got to use the restroom. And then we'll come back and talk to Popeye. All right, so for those of you who don't know, this is Popeye. This is his real name.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
He is the head brewer here at Phoenix Beer Co.
Production manager,
operations manager.
I make sure the right beer is in the right tanks at the right time.
There you go. That's very important.
Yep.
So obviously, you guys have this fantastic location here. I grew up near here, and this place was always kind of a dead zone. So you guys are livening it up for sure. Tell us a little bit about the what you got going on here, and get us started.
Well, so yeah, we Phoenix Beer's been around since 2019. We actually got this place. It used to be Buster's for anybody who is used to the area, and we actually took this space over. Redid the patio for obviously these lovely views that are out here and the lovely walking path. And then we make all our beers down at the brewery at 30th Street and Washington. And then we have this nice restaurant to be able to have people get to try our beers far away from where we actually make all the beer. So
I love that. And you guys have quite the list here in terms of ranges of different types of beers. Some of them award winning.
Yes.
So
yes.
you want to tell us a little bit about that, about some of your beers and those awards that you won?
So this lovely magazine here in town, Phoenix Magazine.
Oh man, I've heard of it. It's great.
They had a Arizona Best Of festival. So all Arizona breweries basically sent out their best stuff, and the Monsoon that's on inside, it's what I'm drinking right now, won the Best in Show and Best Arizona IPA for its category. So it's been a really nice uptick for us. People have learned who we were, who didn't know who we were before, and it's been great for us. Then people find our other beers like Arizona Gold and our new Hefeweizen Desert Grifter and sort of a lot of other beers that we make, because people come to our brewery just thinking they're going to see IPAs, and then they go, oh wait, you make an amber and a hef and a porter and a stout, and we kill ourselves a little bit, but we do have like 15 year-round beers that we make. So
it's incredible.
And we don't only have so many tanks, so we have to it's a juggling act, but we try and get everything out all the time, and try and be able to be creative and have seasonals and everything else. So the brew team that we have, there's 3 of us. We do our best, and we just try and get beer out. And we just hired a 4th guy, a nice cellar guy, Hunter, who you guys might have seen at the festival yesterday, and he's loving what he's doing. So we're trying to expand and just trying to get as much beer out there as we can.
One of my favorite beers that you guys make is the Morenci Copper.
Yes, yeah.
And you guys barrel aged that one before too.
We have, yes. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that one. For those of you who don't know about what Morenci is, I think that's a town down in South Arizona. So tell us a little bit about the Morenci Copper and what the inspiration behind that one is.
So one of the things we wanted to do with our beers was have names that were Arizona-centric. So one of the 5 C's of Arizona is copper. So instead of having our amber called an amber, we called it a copper. And Morenci is a town here in Arizona that was famous for having like one of the biggest copper mines. One of our salespeople actually lived near there in Safford and Morenci, and he was all about it, and he was very excited to get to kind of pay homage to his hometown and all those other things, and we were all about it. And so we get to have like this nice little story also to tell people when they go, what's Morenci? And then bartenders and the guy at the tap rooms and all those other things. They get to tell those stories. So it's really great.
Yeah, no, I love that. We had some
hooligans,
podcast
some
bombers.
hooligans out
Yeah.
here. Hooligans.
So you guys were at obviously at Strong Beer yesterday. You had a huge tent.
We did. Very big tent.
What was that like trying to build that space and you guys had a DJ, like what? Tell us a little bit about that. That's kind of fun.
It was by far the biggest tent I've ever been in my entire life. It was a good day. We do also make Sonoran white chocolate for Sonoran Brewery in our brewery. So we had Sonoran on one half of our tent, and then we had our jockey box with Desert Grifter, the Monsoon, the Zanjero, which is our new hazy IPA, and our Arizona Gold. And then we had a DJ in between. So not only that, we do actually partner with the Arizona Wrestling Federation. And if you guys saw the wrestling ring that was out there.
Who saw the wrestling match?
Anybody see the wrestling?
Yeah. That was so fun.
Arizona Wrestling Federation has been with us for over a year now, and every couple months they actually do that same show, not the same exact show, but a show like that in our actual brewery. And actually a week from yesterday, so next Saturday, the 25th, that's actually happening at our brewery. So if you guys liked what you saw yesterday, imagine 200 people filing into our brewery and you guys all get to see the same thing. Chubby, who has the title for something, called out the guy he's fighting next week in the ring, stuff like that. So it's a really great time. We have a great time with the wrestling guys, and we become good friends with all of them because they're like one big troop and they have their storylines. And so some guys fight sometimes and some guys fight some other times and stuff like that. But it's a lot of fun. And that's down at 30th Street in Washington, down at our brewery. So if you guys, we have chairs, we have, all of our delicious beer on tap. But yeah, you guys should come down next Saturday if you want to. And it's a great time. And they put on a great show. They really do. So
That's awesome. So, yeah, man, this Hefeweizen is delightful. By the way,
thank you.
My favorite beer in the entire world is Weihenstephaner. So my Hefeweizen bar is very high, and this is very, very, very good.
Yeah, with that beer, we tried to go as traditional German Hef as we could. So it's got German Hefeweizen, so you get those banana notes, those clove notes, and then just a really nice wheat base for the beer.
So tell us a little bit about your background as a brewer. Where you kind of got started. I think Rob is probably going to jump in because I know the story, so Rob's going to want to join us. So I'll scoot over. Okay. But yeah, tell us about where you got started and how you ended up where you're at now as, the one and only legendary Popeye.
The one and only legendary Popeye. So I went to ASU, graduated.
Woo!
Yes. Woo! Go Devils. Graduated from ASU with a degree in philosophy and creative writing.
Oh boy.
I also had 4 minors, including marketing, psychology, and humanities and music. And so basically I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. So I drank a lot of beer at Fort Peaks at the time. And one day I actually talked to Andy Ingram, who's the head brewer over at Fort Peaks, and I said, what do I got to do this? And he went, go get a degree and go get experience. So I left Arizona. I moved to Chicago. I went to the Siebel Institute in Chicago, which is one of the highly acclaimed brewing schools that you can go to. And then I worked at multiple breweries in Chicago and St. Louis. And then my wife and I decided to move back here because both of our families moved back here. So I was in Chicago for about 6 years. Worked at Goose Island, which is a big one. Everybody kind of knows. I also worked at Metropolitan, which is in Ravenswood, that only makes lagers. So I got a crash course in lagers only. And then I worked at Off Color Brewing, which does off-the-wall stuff, barrel aging and stuff like that. So I learned a lot about barrel aging and stuff like that in Chicago. And then I worked at a place called Perennial in St. Louis, which is a smaller brewery. But I actually used to commute every day from Chicago to St. Louis.
What?
To go brew, and I had to be there by 5 a.m. to start. And then if I got too drunk, I'd sleep on a couch. If not, I'd drive back to Chicago.
Like a 4-hour train ride?
It's a 3-hour drive, 4-hour train, I know.
Yikes.
So
wow.
I do like brewing beer. So if there was any question whatsoever in my love of beer and just just in general, just the industry, I should say something. So
I just wanted to weigh in, and I'm going to. By the way, first time caller, long time listener, Rob, Tempe, Arizona. I just wanted to throw this out there, and I'll explain my vote, and then I want to hear from some of the tables as I walk around. Of course, you know I love Arizona beer, and I think pound for pound, we punch above our weight class. We've got a giant metro city as large as Los Angeles in square footage or mileage and population of Philadelphia. And right now, if we all decided that we wanted to drive for an hour and a half, we could find a remote desert, beautiful place. Even in this weather, we could all die in extreme beauty, and that's what I love about it. You can't do that anywhere else. Nevertheless, I'm going to tip my hat to the best beer city in America, and that is Chicago, Illinois. And if you say San Diego, I will fight you. You need to go to Chicago, and I'll let these guys clean up after I leave. Thank you.
So
I've only been to one. I've only been to one brewery in Chicago, and that was a little place called Half Acre.
Half Acre also.
Half
very good
Acre.
beer. Very good beer. Yeah.
And it was great. But yeah, I haven't spent a lot of time there. So tell us a little bit about it, Chicago's brewery scene.
So I lucked out. So I moved to Chicago in 2009, and at that time, craft beer was really exploding. And every single brewery that was expanding outside of their home market sent their beer to Chicago. So I was like the first to get to try, West Coast stuff that had never been all the way, to the Midwest or to the East Coast and stuff. And like just trying beers, Stone was big, but Stone was sending stuff just to Chicago that they sent nowhere else.
Wow.
Lagunitas was sending stuff to Chicago. They were only sending to Chicago, and then they liked Chicago so much they actually opened a second brewery in Chicago to be able to give everybody all the beer they needed. I got to go to Wisconsin, and I got to, get New Glarus and some of those beers because Chicago's, an hour drive away from Wisconsin, stuff like that. So that whole Midwest sort of culture of beer drinking and everything was very strong. And we had very loyal customers. I knew people who I would see twice a week, 3 times a week when I was selling beer. When I was in Chicago, I was doing the brewing stuff, but I was also working for a distributor selling beer at 2 accounts. I was also working at basically a Bevmo, but in the Midwest, it's called Binny's. Same idea, though, just a liquor department. I was running the entire beer department there, so I got the first runs of all the barrel-aged beers, of everything, and one bottle accidentally got broken sometimes, and I took it home and drank it, and some of that. So I got to build a lot of that, and then while I was in Chicago, the Cicerone was becoming a big thing, so I ended up taking the Cicerone test, ended up passing, so I'm a certified Cicerone and all those other things. So kind of with all of those things, it's Chicago is great because there is that beer culture. Everyone likes to eat and drink in the Midwest. And
that's because if you're anywhere outside of Chicago, there's nothing else to do.
Correct. And it's very cold, so you need a nice base layer to get through the winters and everything else. But it was great. Chicago, the 5 years I was in Chicago were fantastic. And it really opened my eyes a bunch to beer just in general. And then when I moved back, I actually got a job at Fort Peaks because I went to Fort Peaks with my resume 5 years later, and Andy Ingram looks at it and goes, "Wow, you did it. Okay, I guess, let's see about getting you a job." And so I worked there for 5 years, and then, AB bought them and everything that went along with that, and that was really not kind of what I wanted to do. So I moved on, and now I'm at Phoenix, and Phoenix has been great. When I started there was only 2 of us making all the beer, and then at some point, the head brewer became the head brewer, and I became the operations guy because I had too much knowledge on the operations side of, how to pay taxes and how to,
All the fun stuff.
All the fun stuff, yeah. So, but it's been great. Phoenix has been fantastic. For me as well because it gave me that experimental gene again where I get to do all the barrel aging for us and I get to do a lot of the lab work and I get to do
you do one-off collabs with your friends at Phoenix Magazine
with really cool magazines and stuff. Yeah. But right now we actually have a collab on with our friends at Simple Machine. It's a chocolate tiramisu stout. If you guys haven't tried it, Marshall and I have been good friends for many years. So he's the owner at Simple Machine. So and we have more collabs coming down the the line. I just can't talk about them yet. So
Well, I'm gonna
give me
I'm
another
gonna put it
monsoon.
out.
Give me another monsoon, and I might.
I'm gonna put it out into the world here, and just to sort of manifest this. But Phoenix Magazine puts on an event every year called Best Fest. It's our Best of the Valley event. It's sort of a big party. It's indoors in the middle of the summer in downtown Phoenix. You guys were a part of it last year.
Yes.
Phoenix Beer Co. Has won Best of the Valley, I think, several times, and so we're gonna do a collaboration that's gonna come out for that event.
For that event, if everything lines up
If
perfectly,
everything lines up
correctly, yeah.
perfectly, I'm manifesting it right now. So we'll have a Best Fest collab beer.
Yes.
And it'll be Phoenix Magazine's first beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
First of many, hopefully.
Yeah. First of very many.
of many,
Yeah. We can't serve my homebrew at any of these events because everyone would be appalled.
I will say, Johann is now a very experienced home brewer.
No.
And he makes fantastic
no,
homebrew beer.
no. I've been brewing for like 2 months and they're all terrible.
He just shouldn't be giving them to anybody else.
No, yeah. If you like ciders, then my beer might. It's all green apple. Don't worry about it. Anyway, so I kind of want to see if Drew and Brian want to come up and join us for a little powwow. Maybe all four of us can tell some jokes and stories and talk about Phoenix's beer industry and everything. So, Drew, Brian, you guys want to come up and join the party? Scoot over, Popeye.
Get out of the sun. Baking in the sun over here. We will be a dish.
Oh, yeah. A quick plug. Phoenix Magazine's putting on a food festival on March 5th. And it is our second year that we put on. It's called Dish Fest. It's in downtown Scottsdale at the Clayton House. And Phoenix Beer Co. will be there.
Phoenix Beer Co.
So if you're interested, go to phoenixmag.com and there's more information there. But it's a really great food festival. Some of the best restaurants in the valley. All right, gentlemen, how we doing? How we feeling? What's our beer count for the day so far?
None.
I always tell my kids, if mom asks, this is 2.
It's always 2. How many
It's
beers have you had?
always
2.
It's just 2. This is my
Always
second. I only had 2 beers.
Yeah.
First one and the last one.
Yeah.
Because rats get stitches, right?
All right, so you guys are obviously a big part of the Arizona beer community, and you have all been part of it for several years now. You said you've been in the industry for about 8 years.
Yeah.
Brian, how
We're
long?
coming up on 6.
It's coming up on 6. Popeye,
14.
14 years.
He's so old.
So you guys have seen the community, the industry, the whole scene here grow a lot over the last few years. Tell us like a little bit about what you've seen, how you've seen it grow and what you think about that. Drew, you want to start?
Yeah, it's crazy, just the explosion. I think when Andrew and I started at the Perch, there was maybe a handful, like 20, maybe. And now we're upwards of 100. I don't know with all the closings and whatnot, but just to see the growth and really the impact that Arizona beer scene has. I mean, we're smaller than most, but we pack a lot of punch. I mean, if you see what we've medaled as far as the state goes, a smaller state, and just the quality that's coming out of the state. I'm really proud of all the breweries and what we're pushing out there.
I'll kind of chime in, I guess. One of the coolest things about the Arizona craft beer scene is the Arizona craft beer scene. Like it's an actual community. We all kind of play together, and I don't know that anybody really deletes anyone from their sandbox. Like our own experience for the first 9 months that we were open, we didn't brew beer because our system wasn't there. So we had probably 15, 16 collaborations that we did with other breweries around the state. I mean, this was 6 years ago, but we brewed beer with you guys. We brewed beer with Oso, Like we did beer with whoever would give us a spot. So and that was pretty cool for us just to kind of expose ourselves to everybody. So we try to give that back, but also not only like with each other, but it's I don't know. We do so much for charities, and I think everybody's kind of tied into different charities. You guys are. You guys are. Like, we do local stuff as much as possible. But, yeah, I mean, the actual craft beer community is a community. Like, it's one of the coolest industries I've ever been involved in. I mean, that's my plug.
Popeye.
I'll second what he said. It's everybody is friends with everybody. Like a day like yesterday where we all get to see each other. We all get to do our setup at 9 a.m. way before everybody else shows up. Yeah. But then we're all walking around afterwards and we're like, hey man, how you doing? Like it just everyone's catching up, and that is the cool part about this just the Arizona scene in general is everybody's friends with everybody else. Everybody likes to do collabs with each other. Yeah. We like to see what your system's doing. You want to come see what our system's doing. Yeah. And little tips and tricks and little different things that people do and stuff like that. But it like they said, I mean, like that is the best part about the Arizona beer scene is we are unique in that we're very spread out as well because we do have Flagstaff breweries, we do have Sedona breweries, we do have.
There's a place called Tucson, apparently.
There's also a Tucson. I went to ASU. I don't know anything about Tucson, but no, those little things like that where you're just we do actually expand very far distances away from each other, but still all like to include everybody and be a part of whatever we can do. So
it's definitely something I've noticed kind of coming in from a non-brewing perspective, but entering the community, which is something I always wanted to do, and really because of our beer festival and our beer awards, I've had a chance to meet all you guys and kind of become part of this community in one way or another, and it's this like rising tide lifts all ships attitude.
Yeah, for sure.
You could have a brewery open across the street from another brewery, and the brewers from the one are at the other celebrating their opening, and they're collaborating. And you mentioned Marshall at Simple Machine. Like I have a hard time going to like a bottle shop and not seeing a like so and so collab with Simple Machine can on every shelf, because it's like everybody works together and everybody shares and collaborates, and that's such a cool thing that I don't think you see in almost any other industry. Like you open a coffee shop across the street from another coffee shop and like there's beef, right? Like but with beer it's like
coffee
the whole the whole idea behind beer in my mind is sharing it, right? It's community. It's I go get these big barrel-aged stouts from so-and-so brewery, and they stay in my fridge until I have 2 or 3 people at my house that I can share them with, because I'm not going to sit and drink a 15% barrel-aged monster by myself. It's just not something I want to do. So
he's also a new father, so he's going to start doing that soon. But
when the kid's in bed.
I just think that's such a cool thing about the Phoenix beer community. The Arizona beer community in general is that it is a community that all works cohesively like that. So I love hearing that from you guys. So what do you guys think?
Can I add something?
Yes, please.
So little does
Kim
a
Ortega.
lot of people know he doesn't. Oh, sorry. I am Drew's wife. He wasn't around for Strong Beer last year because he was actually in the hospital.
Oh, no.
Little does he like people to know. But it was a crazy, weird thing. But to go off of this community and how much that it brings a tear to my eye, because out of a very scary situation, they did a fundraiser for us, Ellsworth. They're our good friends.
We love Drew and Kim. And my phone's gone.
But not only that, BRI and OSO made a beer on his behalf for hospital bills. The guild cut a check. It was like, that's not what people do, in other states. And
you ask a car salesman if he got any support when he went to the hospital, he's going to be like, no, bro.
No, yeah, right? So that's just like, that's forefront of our brain. Is like, you never think something will happen to you, but guess who's there is every single brewery. So
yeah, no, I love that. I love that.
Yes.
So Now that we've debriefed from the Strong Beer Festival yesterday, new venue. What are your guys' thoughts on how it went this year? And give us a teaser of what you're hoping to do in the future for Strong Beer. Maybe a style you've thought of.
It was almost scary because it was so smooth and no stress, which is crazy. Like, I remember, 8 years ago when I started this, and I'd just be frantically, oh my gosh, this is going to happen. It's going to be 5,000, 10,000 people in here in a second. But it was so smooth and seamless. It was, no problems. Don't know how they pulled it off, but it happened that way. So,
Bravo, Arizona Craft Brewers Guild. I think in the past, it's always been a concern for, I'll talk about the elephant in the room. It's always been a concern for us small guys. Like, we're not a big brewery. We're less than 500 barrels a year. So, and we don't distribute. We always felt like we didn't get a fair shake necessarily on a strong beer in the Phoenix location, because there's all these kind of choke points as it goes through distributorships when you first walk in. But I actually like this venue a lot. I felt like it was even playing field across the board, like kind of more highlighted Arizona breweries. So we had a lot more foot traffic, a lot more interest, a lot more exposure. So it makes it worth it for us for sure. And we'll definitely, we always support the guild, so we'll always come out.
Love that.
I feel like the super VIPs keep getting in earlier and earlier every year.
Rude.
But thank you all. To second that, I thought the layout was great this year, and we were able to, there were obviously the section there was the villages here and there and everything, but everybody had lines, but it didn't feel like the lines were overbearing. I don't know how from your guys' perspective, but at least for us, as being the guys pouring and being the guys shaking hands and everything out front, it's like nothing seemed too overbearing for any of our employees or anybody who's there helping. We actually had a couple of restaurant people who are here today who were down there pouring and stuff, and they were like, wow, that was so smooth. And I was like, it doesn't always go like that. Like, today was a very smooth day, which was great. So yeah, it was great.
I'll do a quick shout out to the staff at Salt River Fields. Like, those guys are awesome. Yep. Sean and Chris, right? Sean and Chris, is that right? Those two always run smooth events. They always try to help out as much as possible with the people exhibiting. So love those guys.
Yep.
Yeah, no. As a festival goer, not a staff or brewery member, I agree. It was the line getting in was easy to get through. The whole get your wristband the day before option, I think, was awesome. I wasn't able to do that because, like Popeye said, I have a 2-month-old, and I wasn't able to get away on Friday to get my wristband. But it was kind of funny standing in line and seeing all the people walk up thinking that they were just going to get in, and then they didn't have a wristband, and then having to walk all the way back to the line. That was kind of funny. But yeah, overall, I walked into the festival, and it felt like it felt spread out enough to where I didn't feel piled on with all this crowd, but it felt condensed enough to where I could hit all the breweries, I could visit everybody, I could see everything without feeling like I had to walk a mile. So the layout was brilliant. I thought like you said, that none of the lines felt super long. If the lines were longer, they were, people got through it real quick. So super, super easy to be a attendee for this event. And, anytime you have a huge event like that, as somebody who plans events, you always get a little nervous about are people worried about standing in line too long, or do they not visit somebody because the line is too long, etc. And the event yesterday, I thought, went super, super smooth, and it felt really cohesive. I don't know if Andrew and Rob, in the moment, always felt like everything was going smoothly. I can attest to that in terms of planning events. You have these panic moments, but from the outside, it was a really, really well done event. So kudos to the guild.
Heck yeah, good job,
kudos
guys.
to Rob and Andrew, because it went super, super well. Do you guys have not counting your own beers, do you have a beer that you remember that you tried yesterday that stands out as like, ooh, that was really tasty? Something stands out.
I just know that Debo's this year is awesome from Uncle Bear's. That's one of my favorite yearly beers that come out. Love that beer. So if you're into sours or IPAs, try one that mixes both really well. It's actually a super good beer, I think.
Agreed.
Drew.
I don't know. I had a lot yesterday. I didn't have to work till
I
late.
had a lot of beers. I actually Fire and Fury, which is a new brewery that opened at Thunderbird and stuff. They had a maple stout actually in Firkin that was pretty phenomenal. They actually sourced a mason jar of maple syrup from a small company in Minnesota and put the whole thing in the Firkin and then put coffee and vanilla beans in it, which was actually it was one of the standouts. It was also 14% alcohol, so I had a little bit and was like, it's only 11 a.m. I need to like make it through the rest of the day. So I went back later and it was just as delicious, but I probably don't remember it as well the second time around. So.
Did anybody get to try the toasted pecan doppelbock at Saddle Mountain? Because the 2 times I went up, they were out of it. So I need to figure out. Did you guys get to try that?
I did not.
That sounds delightful, doesn't it?
A standout brewery for me was Roses Under the Stairs, too.
Yeah.
They had some good stuff.
Yeah. Has anyone been over to Roses Under the Stairs in downtown Phoenix yet? They're one of the newer breweries, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
There, another new one making very, very good beer.
Yeah.
If you guys have not had their beer yet, I highly recommend going
Good
by there.
stuff.
It's very good.
Drew, did you think of one?
No, I mean, well, I could name off a few. I mean, Simple Machine had an Italian Pilsner that I really enjoyed. I had a
that too.
Doppelbock,
Yeah, Bippity
but I
Boppity
can't
was
remember who it was from, but it was fantastic. Castellum's ciders were phenomenal. Mason Ale Works, those guys. I actually tried to hit some stuff that was out of state that would probably never go and hit. But yeah, I mean, I felt like everybody represented really well.
Oh yeah, the cidery Skybird.
Sixbird.
Yeah, I had a couple of their ciders as well. They're also making very good.
Yeah,
ciders
phenomenal,
right now.
phenomenal.
There's a new one that was right next to us called Below the Rim.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
So that's a meadery.
Yeah, a meadery, actually,
Yeah,
not
they're
cider,
local
sorry.
guys. They just opened, I think, it must have been a month ago or so. Really, really good meads. But their tasting room or their little meadery is located up in Payson. They had an apple of my pie. It was an apple cinnamon mead that was very, very good. Yeah. Did anybody get to try Below the Rim mead? Yeah,
Meads.
good stuff, right? Right on. That's the green chili one. I didn't try that one. But yeah, no, it was great event for sure. Any other highlights? Maybe some breweries that have opened in the last couple months or few months that you guys want to shout out, doing some good work?
Personally, I've been to 100 Mile, and their beer is great, but food's phenomenal.
Oh yeah, best fried
Man.
chicken sandwich I think I've ever had in my
Great
life.
story,
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
I like those guys.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If you
Valerie's
haven't been
making
there
great
yet,
beer there. Yeah.
you got to try it out. It's worth every whatever drive you got. Food's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Valerie, the head brewer over there, got her start at the R&D brewery for Firestone Walker. Won a handful of GABF medals with them, and is now brewing some really good stuff. I tried their German Pilsner while it was on, and I tried
Fantastic.
it, and I was like, "Ooh, I think Doc over at Pedal House might have some competition for one of the better German Pilsners in town." This is very, very good.
Yeah, Kitsune as well.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
opened
Oh,
there.
yeah.
They
I
opened
forgot
their
about
spot
the yes.
up there at
Their Baba Yaga
Bell
was
and 32nd. Yeah, the Baba Yaga was great. Their Galactic IPA was also very
Yeah,
good.
I don't know.
Tyler's making some really great beer up there.
I don't know what the hazy was called, but
It was called Galactic.
close your eyes and
Galactic,
it
yeah.
was monkish.
Yeah,
Like straight up, it was tropical. It was fantastic.
Yeah, Tyler's doing great stuff up there at Kitsune right now, and JJ, who's his other brewer, also worked at Simple Machine, so they know their stuff, which is nice.
Nice.
love it.
Hi, Andrew.
Photo op.
Hi, Andrew.
All right, well, let's hear a big round of applause for our three guys up here. Another round of applause for the Guild and everything that they do for this community. I am going to plug real quick, Phoenix Magazine. We're very excited to be part of this community now. We are doing our second annual Arizona Craft Beer Awards and Festival October 21st, so mark your calendars. We're going to be out at the State Farm Cardinal Stadium again this year. Really cool venue. So we'll be a part of that, and we hope you'll join us for that.
Yeah.
Way out in the fall.
And thank you to everybody who's here. I mean, you
Yeah.
guys, you guys came to the festival. You had a good time. You had enough of a good time. You needed breakfast this morning, which is always great. And obviously, thank you guys for coming here. We were happy to get to host the breakfast today. And
Yeah, let's hear it for Phoenix Beer Co. again.
Yeah, these guys rock.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming.
Rob, did you have any closing remarks?
Oh, we have to leave. Rob wants to talk.
Rob will stop. It's Rob time.
Thanks, guys.
Sick.
I'll stick around. You give me a microphone, I'll talk into it all day.
Before you leave today, you get a special gift from the Guild. It is a strong beer, full color glass. And Andrew is handing those out. But if someone would be able to handle that duty, I would love to have Andrew just come up here and say a few things. So if somebody could... Kim is on it. Just hand out the glasses as people leave. Oh, well, okay. So, I just wanted to say thank you and to you for hosting this. It's you asked about how the festival goes and if we're ever really satisfied. And this is a thing where we represent Arizona's breweries. Until that day and for that event, we represent you as customers. We try to make the best festival we possibly can. And, and that is representing everybody who's able to sell beer in this market. And it's been that way for 23 years. I think we're saying it's the 22nd, but I don't know. Did anyone go to the Saving Strong Beer Festival, the socially distanced festival at Old Ellsworth when we did it during the pandemic? Yeah.
It was one of the most creative ways to put on an event during COVID I think I had seen.
It's like beer speed dating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had 10 minutes
Quick,
with 3
try all
breweries.
these beers. Yeah.
I was participating as the Uncle Bear's director for operations. Anyways, I loved it. I want every beer festival to be like that again. Forever.
And if somebody was there, didn't it remind you of like lining up for school every morning? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone had a separate color. They had
We
to
had
be in
zones.
groups of 10, and they had their little pod area.
You could only have 10 people in a group
Yeah.
with COVID rules. So those 10 people would rotate and you could do 60 people an hour, but you got to really talk to those customers.
Yeah.
And they got to really know your brewery. I loved it.
Yeah, it was cool. It was different. It was creative, and it was exactly what we needed, I think, in the moment. During what was happening at the time.
We had that during that time, and Andrew was on the board of directors before he took this job, and so he came in knowing exactly what to do in this role as deputy director. And I know that sounds really Old West funny, deputy, whatever, but to me that means he can speak on behalf of the organization, and I have to live with his decisions just as much as he has to live with mine. So I consider him equal. We started as homebrewers about the same time, and we sort of graduated from the Arizona Society of Homebrewers. Anybody familiar with that group?
Oh, yeah.
That group spawned a ton of brewers. Almost everybody who worked at OSO used to work at Brewers Connection, but was an ASH member. John Lane was an ASH member. And
Ryan, Brian, Drew.
yeah, the Ellsworth guys bringing it back. Desert Monks, were they were part of it.
They were part of it. I mean,
It's
the
like
breweries that opened 7 and 8 years ago and all the way up to like 3 or 4 years ago, everyone kind of started there. They didn't start at a bigger brewery. They didn't start at go to college and take brewing science because those classes and those programs are so few. Now there's a lot more brewing programs. We've got 3 at least in Arizona.
Yeah.
That's great.
We've got there is a you can take a full brewery technical course at Yavapai College. You can do that. It's very I have a job friendly, because like they do stuff in the evenings and in weekends, and they doing some remote learning. You can take hospitality classes with NAU. They folded it into their world-class hospitality school, and I'm looking at the Ellsworth guys because they have a restaurant. It's about the beer, but it's really about hospitality and excuse me on a Sunday. God damn if they don't do a good job of that. Like they take care of your needs, and Uncle Bear's has that restaurant tradition. People don't know this about Huss, who's here. We didn't bring anyone from Huss there, but we should give them a shout out for their beers.
For sure.
Right?
And a shout out for their new Papago Brewing relaunch tap room in Mesa. Super cool location.
For sure.
Worth visiting and bringing it back to, I believe the origins of Strong Beer Festival was in the original Papago parking lot.
The back parking lot.
The back parking lot, and it was put on by Ash, right?
No, I mean, there's about everybody who was an Ash was there. And some of them, Ron Cloth, Ash member, lifetime Ash member. But I wanted, Leah Huss went to Culinary Institute. And her husband is, the brewer, and he worked at BJ's, which is a restaurant component. So we're in Arizona. It's all about hospitality. And, for gosh sakes, we're at a restaurant in this beautiful location.
On that note, thank you, Phoenix Beer Co., for hosting us.
We've thanked them a lot.
We look forward to more of your locations. And since they are a business about to reopen to the public, we should probably wind this up right now.
Yeah. Okay. So again,
I'm the schedule guy. Rob's the philosophy
I just keep
guy.
talking until I see a red light flash.
I just need to say this real quick. It's funny that you're the schedule guy because I went to my first Ash homebrew day at their clubhouse last year, and everyone shows up with these very elaborate, brewing systems, homemade stuff, and then Andrew shows up about an hour and a half late. He sets up a camping stove, 2 pots, and makes this like Frankenstein improvised MacGyver he didn't even boil. Like, I don't know what he did, but he's like, I'm making a beer. I don't know. He didn't measure anything. I don't even know if he sanitized anything. He just it was like, I don't know what was happening.
He definitely did.
But he made a beer. And,
the bro brewing
it was the most
is
incredible
different.
thing I've ever seen in my life.
Thanks, Johann.
All
It was
right,
fun.
everybody, don't forget your glass. How could you possibly look at? They're just shining in the sun. They're beautiful, full color. Andrew put that together.
I matched the sample glass from yesterday with the swag glass from today. That was my vision. My vision.
So thank you very much. You're right, Andrew. We should go. So thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers,
Have a good
everybody.
day.